As if they couldn't tell, just looking at us.
Oh, yeah.
You want to sit in the middle to break people?
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the final day of the 9th annual Startup Boston. I think we're going to have a lot of fun here. This group is already making me laugh, so I think this is going to be an awesome session. I can't believe it's the last day. Just to remind everyone, you've probably heard this a few times this week. The mission of the conference is simple: to bring together the entire startup community across every industry, department, and funding stage. Startup Boston exists to connect, educate, and celebrate this ecosystem while serving as a trusted, unbiased guide to the best resources that can help you start and scale your startup or your team. My name is Linda Brown, and I'll be your host today. I'm a serial startup person myself, and I've been through three exits and 4 or 5
Oh, wow.
variably successful mergers and acquisitions. Those are always kind of a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get. Before we dive in, though, I want to give a huge thanks to Suffolk University. I'm from Rhode Island. We do not have this kind of thing, and the events are all spread out. This is really an amazing way to get everybody together, and Suffolk University makes that possible. So huge thanks to them. They have programs in entrepreneurship. If you're interested, they have a table on the 5th floor. And with no further talking, I will turn things over to Danielle, and she is going to be our moderator for today. Thank you.
Thank you. It's Gabrielle. Unbelievable. It happens all the time.
I humbly beg your forgiveness from the bottom of my heart.
Apology
I
accepted.
didn't want to rustle my papers.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Friday morning. What a slot, huh? Everybody get their coffee, moving and grooving. All right. Well, I don't think there's like a better group to kick off the day with,
Agreed.
right?
Yes,
I mean,
get ready.
Delegate from Rhode Island agrees.
got a lot of Rhode Island representation in the house, which is always important. Thank you all for coming. We're going to be talking about the first critical marketing hire. I did not plan for this, so I hope the panelists are not thrown off. But I'm curious, like, what's the mix in the room right now? We got any marketers? Okay. Let's trauma bond after the session. How many founders?
Ooh.
Yeah, okay, all right. So there's going to be like a duel afterwards, founders versus marketers. Just kidding. We all love each other. What else? We got product people, sales. Oh yeah, sales. Right. You guys are important.
They think they're important.
I'm just kidding. All of my former sales leaders are still friends with me. Yeah.
That sounded like a question,
I
not a
was
statement.
just like, rolling back in my memory to make sure.
It's not me. Not me. No.
Sorry. Well, I'm Gabrielle, or Danielle, or whatever you want to call me. I am, gosh, who am I? I am the co-founder of Marketing Women, a community for women and non-binary marketers. And I'm also a marketing consultant. So I do a lot of like fractional CMO type work with founders and startups and other teams of different sizes. But I've also been the first marketer in 3 times now, which makes me want to, cry a little bit. We were just talking about therapy earlier. So you guys know, especially if you're the marketers, maybe if you're the founders too. It's a really important hire, of course. And there's lots of ways that this journey can take you on. And we're here to talk about why it's important and how you can figure out like the right, path forward in the journey that you should take for your business, right? Things to look out for. Do you hire this whole like, fractional is the new craze? Like, I'm guilty of it myself. Do you hire fractionally? Do you hire full-time? Do you hire somebody who's, got 2 years experience because they're cheap and you can boss them around? Or do you hire somebody spicy like me or some of the panelists probably? So we'll get into it with this crew here. So let me give a quick introduction, and I want the panelists to give themselves a longer introduction. But first up at the bottom of the table, MK Gettler-Portskova, CMO of Loop and Tie. MK's pronouns are they, them. Then we've got Rachel Decker in the middle here, co-founder and chief product officer at ClearSync, she, her. And then we've got Alon, right? I'm saying that right, okay.
Yep.
Alon Ravel?
Ravel?
Okay, cool.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Okay.
CMO of Feast and Fettle, and his pronouns are he, him. All right, guys, let's do this thing. Rachel, you want to go first
Oh,
as the authority on marketing?
Yeah.
Just kidding. She's a product product leader, but she and I worked together for a long time, and she saw what not to do with marketing. So I thought that her perspective would be really helpful here. Am I like speaking too close to the mic?
No.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. What's going through your head? You just founded ClearSync and you're like, marketing? Yeah, I guess I'm doing marketing. Like, what are you thinking about hiring marketing? Like, where's your head at with that right now?
Great question.
Okay.
Hey, everyone.
And also give yourself an intro. Yeah.
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. So, hey, I'm Rachel. I am the chief product officer of this company called ClearSync. My co-founder's right here, Joss. Hello. And we are starting a company that helps sync data between 2 platforms, Stripe and HubSpot. But before that, I spent a lot of time at Vendor doing product with Gab. And before that, I was at EasyCater and at HubSpot. So I have been the first product management hire and the first UX research hire. So I have that perspective as well. But I wanted to take time and actually start a business myself. That's always been a dream of mine. So I'm happy to be doing that right now. We're just a few months in at ClearSync, so we're not yet kind of thinking about hiring our first marketer. But I wanted to know from the founders in here, is anyone a bootstrapped founder? A lot of people.
Ayo.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Me and my co-founder, we are also bootstrapped. So we made that strategic choice right in the beginning. We knew we didn't want to take any VC money. So when you're bootstrapped, I'm sure you guys know, that forces you to make a lot of different trade-offs and decisions about how you want to spend your money. So Joss and I made one of the decisions that we made was that we wanted to build something that had kind of built-in distribution. So one of the things that we're doing is building an app that can go into app stores that people can find. People at the bottom of the funnel can find that when they're searching for, hey, I want this very specific problem solved and I know what I want and I want to go get it and I can go search for it and find it for free. That was one very specific decision we made so that marketing was a little bit easier for us. I'd be curious to know if you guys are thinking that same way, maybe when we open up Q&A, but that was one strategic decision. So we are always thinking about how are we spending money. And I think in the bootstrap founders mindset, I'm sure you guys are thinking this too, but just you want to be always having conversations with prospects and thinking about what's the best channel to go to market with this product. And so you need to have all of those conversations. You need to be practicing your messaging. You need to be understanding who your buyer is and who the user is. Are they different? How do they buy? Where do they hang out? So we're spending a lot of our own time figuring that out ourselves and testing a bunch of stuff. So it's just information that we need to have, be on the ground doing it all ourselves right now so we can figure out, okay, this is what works. And then maybe we, in the future, want to spend money and really supercharge that and blow that out of the water. But we're not at that point yet. But that's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about when should I hire someone to go do this.
Love that. Thank you. MK, what's your story?
It was a dark and stormy. No, I'm just kidding. I am forever grateful to the Boston startup scene because so much of my career and my experience that I get to bring to the companies and brands I work with is everything I learned from either working in startups or working alongside brilliant people who also work in startups here in Boston. I'm currently the chief marketing officer at a company called Loop and Tie. We are helping to transform corporate gifting budgets into engines of social impact. I am actually the first marketing hire at Loop and Tie, and that's because the CEO was very intentional about realizing she didn't have the capacity to run the brand, the strategy, the storytelling. And during our interview process, I was like, why not hire? someone maybe more in the manager or the individual contributor range. And it's just because she acknowledged in herself as a bootstrap company, she just didn't have the capacity to do the things that she knew were possible for this brand. Before Loop and Tie, I was at a company based here in Boston called Alice. I was not the first marketing hire, but I was their first marketing executive, which was a really interesting dynamic to bring into the boardroom, to bring into executive conversations, because marketing was always an afterthought after it not being involved in the conversation. So I would advise any founders in this room, if marketing is going to be an important part of your growth plan, spoiler alert, it will absolutely be a part of your growth plan. You have to have somebody with the right voice in the room to help you shape what the future of your organization is going to be. If you're hiring a marketer right now for the tactics, that makes so much sense. I promise you that's not going to be the same person to be that voice in the room with you to help charter the course for your brand as time goes on. Rachel and I worked at HubSpot together, and we've seen a marketing engine, the beast of a marketing engine, be built from the ground up. We also have another HubSpot, at least one HubSpotter in the audience as well too, Lindsay. And we've seen from the inside how important and vital that marketing hire is to help grow and scale your brand. So if you are a marketer in this room, here's a couple of things in which I would advise you to be thinking about. One, are you a Swiss Army knife kind of marketer? Meaning, can you do a lot of things, but none of these things exceptionally well? Yes, you can, you're a little screwdriver and maybe a tiny little knife. That's a great hire to think of for a founder who's very early stage. Or are you a specialty knife? As a specialty knife, are you filleting fish? Are you a butcher knife? With those two types of disciplines, they are very valuable for you and for your founder, but you need to be on the same page with your founder about what they can expect from you. You cannot do everything and be everything to everyone as a Swiss Army knife. And you also can't as a specialty knife, but you also can't get the level of depth and excellence that you need to by being a specialty knife when you are a Swiss Army knife. So that's where I'm at.
Love it. We got knives and more knives.
All the knives.
All the knives.
Every one of them.
Alon, what's your perspective? What's your background? If you want to share that with the audience, and like, what's your perspective on so like when should people be thinking about hiring marketing?
Hi, good morning. I'm Alon. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Feast and Fettle. I've had a very robust career in marketing. So I grew up in New York, and I kind of started on the agency side. So I've worked at like really, really big agencies, working on massive brands like Toys R Us, Hilton. And then I went over to like the sales side. So I worked at selling stuff for Bloomberg, New York Times, more big brands. And I said, get me the hell out. I hate all this red tape, which moved me into like the B2C tech world. I worked at a bunch of B2C apps, and one of them was a breast cancer app, actually founded here in Cambridge. And I was the first marketing hire. I was the 5th employee. I'll talk about that in a minute and why I left. And after, we all know how tech is doing. Sorry to those people in the room who are starting tech companies. It's tough. So I now work at Feast and Fettle, which is like my version of food tech with physical product. So there's tech, but I'm really selling a brand and an experience and a product, which is a marketer's dream. In terms of what I think about it, all of this is, a lot of people don't know what they want. They also don't know what marketing is or isn't. So I think it's really important for you, if you're a founder and you're not a marketer, to not assume that you are. It's a really good place to start and say, like, I actually am looking for someone who can help me because I don't know how to do this. And like, get your ego out. If you're going to bring in someone who's going to just do what you say, you're bringing in the wrong person. The whole point is to offload this or to partner, especially as your first hire. Having all the ideas or saying, I want the logo to be red and black, even having a conversation like that is crazy with a first marketing hire. Like, that's not important at all, No one cares. And if your founder thinks that that's important, again, you're thinking about the wrong things. My best advice is the first marketing hire really needs to be a generalist. They need to be able to be a doer, and they need to understand branding, marketing, social, If you're starting with somebody who's thinking old school, like really old school, not that that stuff doesn't have a place. It doesn't have a place when you're new, in my mind. Like doing like print, going into like old school strategic conversations, that doesn't matter. You're not Coca-Cola. You're nobody. So know who you are. The last thing I'll say really fast on it is, if you can't think about what like the press release of your first marketing hire will be a success in 6 months, like think about the headline. If they were successful, if you can't think about that, you're not ready to hire. That's a really good gut check of, oh, I don't know what success in the role looks like. Then you're just hiring someone who won't know what they're doing. Or what you want them to do or what's important to the company. So those are all good gut checks and stuff. And I'll talk more about why I left that company later. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, it's just like I've sat through that like a number of times where you don't know what you want, and then the marketer's like, "Cool, I'm just gonna shoot in the dark like 100 million times, and no one will be happy at the end of the day."
Right.
Thank you, Alon. So let's talk about like, your type of business and the type of marketer you should look for. I mentioned earlier, the whole industry is leaning hard into fractional, and there's several reasons for that, which I'm sure we all here know and know well. But like, what advice do we have, Alon? Let's start with you this time around. When thinking about the type of business and the type of marketer, do you go full time just right off the bat, like once you're ready to hire? Do you go fractional? Like, what's your take and advice for founders?
I hate fractional. I think it's a huge mistake. Because if you're gonna go in, go in. No offense. I know you do some of that work.
Okay.
I find
It's
it
just
to
where the money is.
Yeah, it's where the money is, but it's also it means you're not going 100% in. If you want to go 100% out there with your product, with your brand, then you need to go 100% in on your hire. Your gut as a founder is the most important thing, and you have to like sit in that discomfort and push. You all know that if you're the people who are founders in the room, it's a lot of it is gut in the beginning. So if you bring someone in, they don't at part-time, they don't feel like you're committing to them 100%. So how are they going to commit to your brand 100%? I've seen this time and time again. I worked at big agencies. I have such an aversion to agencies because I've worked at them and I know what happens there. You're a client. They're not living and breathing your brand. The way I live and breathe Feast and Fettle, I show up fully every day, all of me. The work is impacted by me, who I am. And you want someone who feels that way about your brand and your product. So it's really important to think of that. Your hire is in marketing is it's like a mini representation of your brand if you're hiring the right person. So be expected, like if you don't want to have like a queer voice in your executive team and in your marketing, don't hire one. Like if you want to just have like a sterile old school thing, hire that type. But it's important to realize that good marketers never going to give you 100% if it's just 50 or 40% of their time. That's my opinion.
Hey man, I was full-time in-house for a long time, so I feel you. MK, what are your thoughts on this?
I love Alon's passion. First off, that's my number one thought. But I also am a little bit more of a realist when it comes to your budgets, right? Like I recognize that your budgets right now at the stage of your growth may not allow for a full-time marketing executive in your presence. Maybe your full-time marketer is a more junior contributor or maybe a series of agencies. Sorry, I said the A word. So are you okay? I don't want to trigger you.
I'm still here.
Great. And so you as a fractional contributor can be more of the orchestrator and probably more importantly, the course corrector for the CEO which I agree, the CEO is the brand. Your vision, your mission, your purpose for the brand is the thing that is sparking why you're starting this company and what's going to sustain this company. It would be a great thing for you to hire a marketer, if you have the budget, a CMO who can embody that brand, carry that brand through every piece of collateral, choose between black and red in your logo and help that continuity with your brand. But many of you are not going to have the luxury of the budget of hiring a CMO. And so with that said, a fractional CMO is a good place to start to understand what does it look like if me as a founder to work with a CMO? What am I not thinking about? What are the things that this person can compliment me on and that I can delegate to them? And then it's also a good way to start like casually dating some CMOs, you know, maybe, okay, cool. We vibe. You get my vision. You get what we're trying to do here. Now I think it's time for us to enter. Now that we have the budget, we've had some proof of success in the market. Now we can actually start to hire you full time and bring you on board. So I think it's a non-committal way for you to maximize the budgets that you have to entertain fractional. Now, once proof of concept is underway, everything is gone, when you have enough capital, then I would highly recommend your CMO to be one of the first executive hires that you make. I know it sounds weird. You would probably want someone in like sales or product, but I think your marketer is going to be the most important person in your line of storytelling as you grow and scale your brand.
Can I give a hot take? Can I jump in?
For sure.
I disagree.
More.
It's just good. I think that your marketing hire is actually the last executive seat you should hire. I think you should have marketers in the room. But the reason for that, like at the company I'm at now, I was the first CMO and the company's 8 years old when I joined. And there was a whole executive team because by the time they brought me in, there was gasoline, there was a fire, and I just poured gasoline on it. And I think there were marketers, a lot. There were 14. I had to like restructure because it was a mistake, but they were like doing the thing and the vision, to your point, where I 100% agree was the CEO was like leading that. And then he's like, I can't do this anymore. It's gone too far. Like I gotta go do CEO work. But there was like pieces getting built along the way. And I think that you can afford, right? And I think that's what happens. It's just hiring those right smaller pieces. And also assume by the time the CMO comes in, the brand's going to change so much. But unless you're really partnering with someone who's building it with you, I don't know that the value will be there because the CMO is going to end up like setting up your Facebook campaigns and like creating your Instagram accounts if they're so new. So it's just a very different relationship in my mind of what their real value is at that early stage. But again, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it will all depend,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like there's
There's a
so
lot of nuance.
much nuance. I mean, if you're hiring a CMO to start up your Facebook account, you're just wasting money.
Yeah, you're dumb.
You are.
You're dumb.
Yeah, you're wasting money.
Yeah.
But to your point, when you think about what's the most important strategic person you need in the room with you as you grow, it could be the CMO, depending on it's all going to depend on your business model, the market that you serve, and how you need to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
I think CMOs are the last to get hired. And unfortunately, they come in and have to clean up a huge mess.
Yep.
So if you were to hire them earlier, they will if also your background in, user research, hugely advantageous for a marketer to come in and not just be a chief marketing officer, the ing, but be the chief market officer.
Yeah.
They know the market. They understand how to go to market, and they could even mobilize a sales team against a motion to help support your market. If you're hiring them for the ing, yeah, you're wasting budget left, right, and center for sure.
Brilliant response. Yeah.
Mic
That's it.
drop.
The ing. Yeah.
It's the ing. It's
The
the ing.
ing.
It's the ing.
Smart. Very
T-shirts will be
Yeah.
available in the back.
You beat
It's
me
so
to
true.
it.
Yeah.
Rachel, what are you thinking
it's
about
interesting
this?
hearing this debate, and especially as a founder.
is divided.
No, it's-
Unify us.
I
Want to
like
live with
hearing-
mommy or daddy?
I mean, I'm still thinking about it, and we have limited budget. We are like still building our brand. I agree it has to be founder led at this point. It has to be. Otherwise, someone else is going to potentially take it in a completely different direction that we never intended. So I am fully someone who wants to maintain control of that right now. I'm not trying to blow my budget. And I know that I need probably a generalist to try a bunch of different stuff. We're also B2B. So B2C, I'm not having someone, maybe you care a lot about that because you are B2C.
Mhm.
Are you B2B?
I mean, I do
We're
B2B work.
both.
You're both.
I do B2B work, but I am B2C.
B2C, because I'm not trying to set up probably a Facebook campaign at this moment.
No.
So it's like, I'm not looking for someone to go do that. I'm not going to deploy money there. So I just have to be really specific. I think, Gab, you said this too. Like, I have to be very specific about what I want so I can direct that person and say, this is what we need to go do. And then I want to see what's working. If there is a fire burning, I want to pour gasoline on that, but I don't know what fire's burning yet.
Right, but I'm calling this how you said want versus need. Those are two different things. What do you actually need?
I don't know yet.
Right, but when you figure that out, that's when marketing comes in.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important because you might want it, but what do you need from a marketing perspective in your business right now, if anything?
Yeah.
Like, do you need to explain your story? Do you need to have a pitch? Do you need a marketer for that?
Right. I think that stuff that has to be founder led. Like
Yeah.
what your story is and how you talk to your prospects and how you talk to the market. It has to be founder led.
Mm.
And then we figure out how to blow that out over time.
Who's your customer?
Right now it's probably like CFOs
Oof.
and rep ops.
Oof. That's tough.
Yeah.
Tough market. Get in front of those people's another word.
So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or founders. Yep. And founders. Yep. Good point.
Yeah.
Man, this is a juicy conversation.
But what would be really helpful in this journey, as you don't know what you need versus what you want,
A marketer?
working with a fractional CMO for a bit.
Yep.
Hey, Rachel, I actually invited you here because
Hey.
we're going to do a live pitch for my services.
Sounds great.
Just kidding. My dance card is full. For you, though, I'll drop somebody. Okay, I want to take this in like a million different directions. I told Alon we're going to be here for like hours if we wanted to, right? Like we could talk about this
We're not
for
leaving.
days.
So.
Yeah. Two tracks are popping up in my mind, like based on our original, plan. So we're not going totally off kilter. Let's talk about the unicorn first. I see this all the time. I actually want to start a video series where I just like roast job descriptions that are like, I want somebody with like performance marketing experience and 25 years of TikTok, and you're like, TikTok's been around for like 2, right? Like, why is everybody looking for the unicorn? Rachel, what's your perspective on this? Are you like, do you think that's viable? Do you think, I mean, you worked with me, so like maybe, but like what's your take on that? Do you think there's a unicorn, or have you thought about that yet?
Well, I think MK's take in the beginning is pretty true about the generalists and the specialist knives. I've seen that. I think from a product perspective, product managers exist in that same spectrum. So I would be probably looking for someone who is a generalist and can specialize in one area that I assume, that they can go deep in. There's probably, I don't know if there's a unicorn out there. I haven't even like searched very much, but it seems like a hard role to fill. Like if you're doing everything, you are probably doing everything kind of well, but if you're really good at ads, you're really, really good at that. So I would start looking. This for me goes back to what do I need? What do I need this person to do so that I can grow my business? And so I would probably look for someone who can stretch, but is really, really specific and good at the thing that I need at that moment.
Yep. And I'd say like have the ego or no ego, have the humility to, on both sides, founder and marketer, to say, I'm not good at this thing, let's hire out. And the founder says, okay, I will pay for that. Right? Like when ego is not involved in the business at all, Alon, I think we said this in our like quick prep call. We were like, imagine what we could get done as a
Big
society.
part of our values.
Yeah.
Actually, I fired someone after 4 days because they had an ego. 4 days.
No egos.
No
Leave your
egos.
egos at the door.
Yeah.
Alon, what do you think about the unicorn job description problem? Like, what's a healthier way to scope it?
Well, let's start with, do unicorns exist? Right. They're not real.
There's only 3 of them. And they're right up here.
So there's your answer. It's bullshit. Like when I see that, I actually, if I'm on the market and looking for a job, I would never apply. It's chaos. It means that there's no clarity of what's needed. You haven't taken the time to think. You're using ChatGPT to come up with a job description and looking at competitors and copying what they're doing and watching stupid documentaries about unicorn companies that made it. You're not a unicorn. You're not going to be the next like Meta. You're just not. You need to be rooted in reality, and your marketer is supposed to do that for you. So anyone who's going to come in and sell you on that idea, run. Red flag, and red flag to yourself that you have no clarity as to what you need. So it's bullshit. No. That's it.
I love it. That's it. We can all go home now.
It's bullshit.
No, I know.
Like, what is that? Nobody, like, no.
Yeah.
That's like saying, like, I want a CFO, a CMO, a COO. That's a
in one.
unicorn. Like, no one can do that.
No. And if
Yeah.
anybody thinks they can, yeah. Yeah, it's a problem, but it's a big problem in the industry, right? Like that misalignment.
Yeah.
MK, what's your thoughts on this? I'm so curious to hear. Like, how would you set that expectation?
So I understand the temptation, right, to write a job description that is as wide and broad as possible to cast a wide net and try to get as many marketers interested in your brand as possible. Like I get that temptation, but we've talked a lot about the need versus want at this stage in your company's success. And so you need to craft a job description that helps you pinpoint what you need and allow someone to opt into the stage of the journey with you. I don't think that there is, I mean, there are going to be exceptionally talented marketers who are multifaceted, but they're also going to be your first candidates for burnout. As to because they're just getting bought into the mission, the vision with you, and they're going to dig deep in the well to want to commit to that level of energy that you are to your brand and to growing and scaling your business. So the first thing you have to do is decide that need and that want, which I'm pretty sure we've established here, and then build a job description that is very precise to what you need. And if you find somebody who happens to have aptitudes in other areas outside of what you need, that's great. And that's also probably the next person is going to say, get the next promotion. And they're going to stay with you and feel sated by what they're doing in the personal and professional growth that you're giving them at your organization. So do I think unicorns exist? Probably somewhere. I mean, if a whale can have a horn on its head, like, yeah, why can't a horse have a horn on its head? The logic exists. But for marketing hires, your unicorns are just really, really high, powerful contributors who are going to burn out very quickly if you give them too much to do at any given period of time.
That you
You can't afford.
gonna say the exact that you can't afford them. So next
Point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is very validating for me, being a unicorn.
Same.
I think we already talked about this a couple times, but or we've been talking about needs and wants, and I think one of the things that's really interesting in looking at startups bringing in marketing or building out marketing for the first time is like, yeah, there's like the founder-led brand and of course the founder vision and the founder stuff, but the reality at the end of the day is like, you're not the boss, your customer is, right? And I think that's a really important part of the conversation to really acknowledge, because I've just seen this come up time and time again. It goes back to the ego thing. So yeah, like MK, we'll start with you. How do you recommend, like, what's your advice to founders who are maybe struggling with that or really need to acknowledge that, the customer is in charge at the end of the day?
Get a good therapist first off, because being a founder is super, super hard. If you don't take care of yourself, nobody is going to take care of the brand. Like that's what fundamental, right? So this is mental health awareness. I think it's next month. It's mental health awareness month. But anyway,
Recovery month right now.
yeah. I guess this goes back to my other point about like, who are you hiring to be your chief market officer, not your marketing officer, but the person who understands the market to which you are selling, building, and serving. And so you have to spend time talking with folks that you want to do business with or are already doing business with to understand what problems they need your help solving. And one of the biggest things we learned when we were at HubSpot was, how do you put your customer in the hero narrative with your brand and your brand's journey? In other words, how is your product, if you're building an exceptional product to help them with their HubSpot and their Stripe interaction, how is that making the CFO the best CFO that ever existed and walked the halls of their office? And so spending time learning from and working with your customer base is super important, or hiring somebody to do that, hiring someone with a UX background to do that, hiring a fractional marketer who understands how to cultivate information that's actionable, that's useful for your brand, is going to be a really important investment for you to make. Does it have to be permanent? Ideally, there's an aspect of the voice of the customer in everything that you do. But at least to get started and at least to start validating some of the direction that you think you want to be taking, it's going to be a really important feedback loop for you to build and then revisit every so often.
Thanks, MK. Yeah, I feel like I also just want to add, like, this is bringing up memories of me being like, we need to interview customers and target personas that are not our customers yet. And the CEO founder's like, no, let's just like post something on LinkedIn or buy a billboard. And you're like, oh my God, guys, like,
But like, how do you know what to even put on that billboard if
Right,
you're not
right.
understanding the language that your audience is using?
right.
How do you even know where to even consider placing those billboards if you don't know anything about the audience
Or
that
their
you're
needs.
targeting?
What do they
Yeah.
need? What do they want
Yeah.
to feel like?
Yeah.
That's it.
I think because marketing is so public, people think it's like transactional, like, oh, I need this, 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 and this, like in the
Well-
external world. And it's like, no, 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 no. If your marketer didn't do anything publicly for the first like 30 days at a minimum, that's a good thing.
It's actually funny you say that because it's so many companies will be like, we need to sell this, so we're gonna sell it, and we need this from our customer, so we're gonna tell them that, as opposed to what the customer needs from you.
Yep.
That is the biggest mistake I see.
Biggest mistake.
Biggest mistake. Like, I want to say something on that real fast
Go
because,
for it.
like, so when I was working at that breast cancer app, it was the first marketer brought in, and it was an app that helped people like read and go through their medical records when they have breast cancer. I am a gay white man in my 30s, and I was running a breast cancer app for marketing. I don't know anything about that market. So I was like, what do they need? And I kept trying to figure that out. And I was just testing and testing and testing copy. And finally, the copy that landed best for us was a quote from a member on all of our ads that was it was black and just white text on it. And it said, this app caught something that my doctor missed. And I was like, oh, they don't want to die. That's it. These people want to live. So we're selling them no death. That's tough. It's so like, I was like, ooh, can I promise someone that? And when I realized that that's what they want to feel, they want to live and they want to be alive, I was like, can our product do that? Or are we just telling them things that they already know or their doctor would know? And how do I, like, can I stand behind this? And that's heavy. So like, but that's the work that like a marketer is going to do for you. Because we're out there being like, oh, the app was just like, get access to your medical records. And they're like, that wasn't resonating. But what was resonating was that. So I just think there's a really important distinction there for you to think about when you're thinking about your product. It's not what you want out there. It's what they need from you. And if you're not solving for anything, they will never give a shit.
Well, and I also, something I've been thinking about that you just mentioned, like not being anywhere close to the target audience, was like, I think that we conflate lived experience with like marketing expertise, like far too much. And that's a whole other thing we can get into. But I think that's a really important piece. Like, you can think critically,
Right.
and you have a ton of experience as a marketer. So it doesn't matter that you weren't a woman who has gone through breast cancer treatment, right?
I have
So,
empathy. I'm
yeah,
human.
Yeah.
I'm a marketer. I could do this work. It's just, it might, like, it's how you approach it.
Yeah. And I actually think your outside perspective is probably very helpful.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just going to keep building you
No,
up.
please. I love it. Just, hey.
This is, I think, a really important topic, and then we'll open it up for questions. The whole, like, I'm selling cybersecurity software. I need experience in cybersecurity, like the lived experience versus like the marketing skill set. Rachel, I don't think we had even planned for this, which was silly of me. But such a critical conversation happens all the time. Rachel, what's your thoughts on that? Like, would you be open to hiring someone that's like never worked in HubSpot? Like, what's your...
I would. I've funnily enough worked in cybersecurity doing research. I worked in food, I've worked in marketing, and now I've worked in this finance area. I think it's all it's so interesting hearing like the marketing perspective of this because it has to be the product perspective too. If you're not listening to what your customers need from you and you're not building for them and you're not speaking to them the right way, how are they ever going to want to buy what you're selling? They don't need that. So it's just like such a great product mindset to have too. It's the same mindset that I would have. It's just what problem are we solving for them? What's the job to be done at the core? And then how do we speak to that in language that they would use? So if someone came to me from cybersecurity and they said, hey, I think I can still be a great marketer for you, I would say, yeah, absolutely. But I want to understand how you understand what our core problem is, who we're selling to, how they think. I think it can be learned. I think it's really, really enticing to say, oh, I only want to hire someone who's only ever worked with finance, because they probably will intrinsically know a lot of stuff about CFOs. That's who I'm thinking about. But if they can still prove that they can think about how to solve problems and how they're going to help the customer at the end of the day, that's what I really, really care about. And they should help me understand that as a product person so that I can build the best product for my customers.
If you can pull it out of them, then it's more valuable too, even if they can't get there. Like if you're listening to them and they understand, you could be like, oh, I can use that.
100%.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so valuable.
MK, what are your thoughts on the whole like must have data experience conversation?
I think most people have gotten to where they are because they've spent time researching and understanding the field. No one woke up or nobody was born an expert in cybersecurity. Maybe the generations that are emerging now, they will be experts in cybersecurity. They will know the difference between AI versus non-AI videos on TikTok, if it exists in the future. I don't know. Anyway. And so I think it's what you're hiring for is an aptitude of resourcefulness. You're hiring for an aptitude of curiosity. You're hiring for an aptitude of research, because that's what's going to help you understand who that target demo is for your business. There are going to be some skill sets you might want to, concrete skill sets you might want to hire for. So for example, if someone does have experience in cybersecurity, but doesn't have experience in HubSpot, you're going to have to do that trade-off because they're going to need time to ramp and learn how to use this feature. Conversely, if you're going to hire somebody who knows how to use HubSpot but doesn't have experience in your industry, you're still going to need to give them time to ramp up and learn and understand. If you're hiring someone that has neither cybersecurity experience nor HubSpot experience, more than likely you're not going to have the time and the luxury of time to be able to wait for them to ramp on both of those things. So my advice to you would be like, figure out which one you can work with, someone who doesn't have the technical aptitude but has the market experience, or vice versa, and then give them time and patience to be able to ramp, but hire for the aptitude of curiosity, exploration, and willingness to be uncomfortable for a little bit while they're learning.
Really good advice. I feel like there, like our conversation earlier about fractional versus in-house and like what level, there's also like this, there's so much nuance, right? Like I'm working with a CEO right now who is the subject matter expert, who is the target audience. So I don't need to be the target audience. It is cybersecurity. And I'm like, I could do this. I wrote their like messaging in 2 weeks because I have the subject matter expert. You don't need the marketing hire or person or resource to have the subject matter expertise in that case. But if you're like our old boss, wasn't the target audience, like you need somebody on the team, whether it's marketing or the head of product or somewhere in the company, like a resource who can be that subject matter expert, right?
Yep.
Sorry.
Agreed.
Okay. Awesome. All right, let's break it out into Q&A. I feel like again, like we all could stay here for hours because it's such an important conversation. But we want to hear what questions you all have. Yes, there's one back there.
For Rachel, just being the co-founder and the CPO, like understanding marketing, obviously, and knowing what it can do, but also being bootstrapped. And this sounds amazing, right? Like I would love to hire a CMO tomorrow, but realistically, that's not going to happen. So what do you and your co-founder have conversations about like, what are those next steps? What does that look like? if you can't afford it, do they come on as a co-founder or a partner or an advisor? Like, what type of conversations are you guys having about that?
Yeah, right now we're thinking about, okay, what kind of free distribution can we get? And like, we're not in these app stores yet. So what's going to happen once we are there? What kind of traction will we gain? Simultaneously, can we build out organic marketing channels for ourselves? We need to build that up for our brand, for, for just the authority. So we're doing that simultaneously. Then the other things that we're thinking about is maybe we will have this conversation. We've had this conversation as we're hiring engineers. So how much money do we have to hire an engineer to make the product very stable, something we can really stand behind? Like, we're putting most of our money towards that. But then are there ways, we have done this already, is how can we get another person to help us from an engineering and actually an expertise lens just for equity? And are they willing to do that? So we're playing around with lots of different ways to do that. So where do we want to spend our money versus where do we want to give away equity? How do we bring in money while we're doing this? Even if no one's buying this yet, like, how do we bring in other money so that we can support our own business? So we have those conversations all the time, and it's really, really important for us. We're really good friends, so we can have these we have like very honest conversations about that constantly, which is really, really helpful and really, really important. So I don't know if that answers your question completely, but it's all about like money versus equity. We think about that a lot. Yeah, we set that up in the beginning. We like did consult a lawyer. We thought about how we're going to set up the business for ourselves, and then a pool of shares if we wanted to give away equity to employees or to consultants. And so we thought about that from the very beginning, and thought about how we would want to structure that to help us grow. Yep.
Thank you very much for a great panel. Could we, I know it's a broad question, but what about budgets? Are there any generally accepted rates for Boston these days?
For salaries,
Yes, absolutely.
for a
For
CMO?
CMO?
And I know it can vary.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
what
just kinda
level of-
getting to it.
Yeah.
Are you looking at like a specific level of seniority? Or are you looking for like a scale that works you up from IC all the way to
Scale would be
CMO?
great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
The Boston market is hot, 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 hot. So
How deep are your pockets?
yeah, I was gonna. This kind of goes to what Lindsay's question was about equity versus cash for people, because the Boston market is going to be hard to hire somebody who wants the equity because cost of living here is really high. So for an individual contributor, depending on how early they are in their career, maybe 3 to 5 years of experience, I mean, you're probably going to have at least 90K, I think, in the Boston
at
market.
least,
At
yeah.
least
Least,
90K for
Yeah.
that, which I know. I mean, a few of you are like, just
And just
winced at
remember,
that.
if you
Like,
don't if you don't spend a lot, there's
Not gonna
the
get a lot. Yeah.
trade-off.
not going to get a lot.
I would say the bare minimum for Boston, just base, you're looking at for a CMO who actually can do something is like 175.
Oh,
Base.
easily for a
bare
CMO.
minimum, because the market is shit right now for marketers. So someone will take that and be happy if they're motivated by you, but expect to give them a pretty big bonus and a pretty big equity component to that and raise within a year.
I wouldn't take that personally.
Yeah,
I would
So
agree.
just so
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah,
you
that's what I'm
want
saying, like-
Excalibur.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't either.
I think that's
Wait, we
important to
have-
talk
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Is your question related to the salary question?
Well, actually, it's more of a shameless plug. I am in marketing, and I'm more of an individual contributor. About 9 years of experience, and I'm looking to join a startup. And I will say the salary that you just mentioned, right, is what I would be looking for as a mid-level player coach, kind of
Mhm.
mid-level person. But I would expect equity and chunky bonus based on how well you do.
Yeah.
So
And
Which
that's with nearly a decade of experience.
12 years of career experience, last 9 in B2B tech at startups and growth stage companies.
Just to clarify, you're talking about the 175 that Alon just mentioned, or the 90?
Yes, or something probably slightly lower than that, right?
Yeah.
Understanding that like these are startups, probably like 150,
Yeah.
165, right?
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yep.
That's for like mid-level individual contributor, player coach,
Yep.
not even CMO.
Yep. Agreed from what I'm seeing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such a wonderful conversation. I'm Pallavi. I am a marketing professional. And we feel when we want to hire someone for digital marketing, they know very well the technology, search engine optimization, digital marketing, but the market depth are missing there. So that's a real difficulty we face to give them that depth what we have. So how to bridge that gap if you can give some insight on that.
What industry?
And with the education industry, it's
Okay.
a kids coding education.
Thank you.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can enrich the subject matter expertise in the teams that you're hiring, the marketer that you're hiring, especially assuming you're a subject matter expert, like
Right.
Gabby was just talking about, spending more time with you, learning from you, hearing, your experience, your expertise is one. The internet is an incredible place, and there's a lot of free information out there to help educate and elevate the members of your marketing team. So have them do some research or help curate findings that you really like and think aligns with your market. I also think in person is very important. So getting them to go to events like this or trade shows, things that actually help them immerse themselves in the culture, in the voice, in the language that they're going to be marketing to. I mean, you had a great revelation there by just hearing it straight from the voice of the consumer. That is going to help advance your marketer. I think that's probably going to be the biggest advantage they have, is be steeped in it, because you're just a little bit removed when it's research online or just hearing it directly from you.
I also would just say, are you creating space for them to do that? Right? Like, that's a question for you, right? Because you said, like, even the term digital marketing to me is so dated. Hearing that, I was like, is your job description correct? Are you looking for the right person? Because if I see a digital marketing job, I think exactly what you said, like SEO, like very old school digital marketing. I think that term is kind of dead, to be honest. So I think, yeah, it should be. So you're not going to get the caliber of person you're looking for, and you need to create space for them to be curious and hire the person who you're like, okay, I'm going to give you time and not just expect the results. It's very important. A lot of marketers don't get that. So, yeah.
But you're asking the right question.
Yes, you're asking the right question.
Thank
Yeah.
you on behalf of all your marketers. Thank you.
Oh boy. Oh man.
Got a hot one.
All right,
Let's go.
Everyone start putting cash in their hands. No.
We need a ticket taker.
All right. You in the Argentina style shirt. I'm like,
Yeah.
looks like the, right? Looks like the
Wow.
jersey.
Fun, very fun.
Very fun.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. I honestly didn't get the reference at first. I just have a question about the actual hiring process, like on behalf of a founder. When you're ready to make your first full-time marketing hire, how are you finding the candidates? How much are you investing in the sourcing of the candidates? And are you using like applicant tracking systems at this point?
I would probably recommend a referral, like
Word
word
of
of mouth,
mouth.
baby.
Yeah, word of mouth for sure.
It's gonna be cheaper and better.
Go look at something we do when I'm actually hiring. I'm hiring right now for my team, not a CMO, obviously, but like a director of growth, which is, there's so many in the market right now. I'm looking at who I want in the market based on the work they're doing. So I'm going to look at like, oh, what is this brand doing and who is their director of growth and can I poach them, while also trying to get leads in through a typical job description on like LinkedIn. But it's a lot of shit that's coming through.
Yeah. Are you using free tools like just
Yes.
Hardcore,
Yeah.
Yes,
LinkedIn, and Indeed?
we are.
Okay.
When you're small enough, I would say absolutely still do that. You don't need like a recruiter. I think it's a scam.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Especially early stage. Like
Yeah, it's a
maybe if
scam.
you're like a Fortune 1000, but yeah.
I think you can definitely use your network and
Yeah, use
use
your
all the free
network.
tools at your disposal to do everything you need to do.
Shameless plug. There are marketing communities out there like Gabrielle's who have lots of marketers looking for job opportunities that come with like huge referrals from very influential people.
Be skeptical. Trust your trust your gut.
Yeah. You'll know right away
Yeah,
if
you'll
they're the
know.
right fit for you.
Oh my gosh, too much pressure. All right. You in the front. Sorry, I know there's a
You
lot of
had the
questions.
advantage of being in front.
We can I can chat after too.
Yeah,
like,
we'll
I just
stay
wanna-
also
yeah.
if
We can
people want to
stay.
ask questions.
Okay.
Thank you for the wonderful section. Actually, my name is Rena, and I have background in operations and data science, and I'm a founder. And my question is around hiring. I deal more with engineers and DevOps, and most times it's easier to keep track of their work because we use things like Jira, so I can measure their progress. So if I hire a marketer who is like I'm paying like 175, and then like it's more like branding and all talk, how do I make them accountable and be able to like measure their deliverables to make sure I'm getting value for my money?
This is
Ooh, I
so
love
triggering.
this
Such a
question.
triggering question.
Love this question.
Sorry, we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. I'm so triggered.
I feel like it kind of is like go with your gut. Like obviously there's ways to measure marketing, but if you start obsessing about that, it's a
If you
dark,
have to,
scary
yeah,
path.
if you have to do that, you hired the wrong person.
Yes.
That's it. Like your job isn't to keep track in marketing of did they set up the campaign? How many signups did we get from that? Is this the right color? If you're doing that, they're not engineers.
It's already
they
over.
don't work like that. It's the wrong mindset. You need to change your mindset to get to work with the right marketer. And if someone is giving you that, they are also the wrong marketer for you to work with. They're too junior.
I think that you'll start to see you're going to have conversations with them that'll bring you new insights. I would hope that they would start bringing you that. I haven't done this yet, but I would hope that there's someone that they can be a thought partner to you. You'll start hearing new ways to think about the market, going to market like that, and then you'll start seeing value. I do think that there will be deliverables that will come out of it, and you'll see results, and you'll know if that's a good thing. But I would hope that they would ultimately be a great
Correct.
thought partner.
Yep.
Very tactically, though, there's project management software out there that you have line of sight and visibility into. It was terrible, but I did build like a project management plan in Jira one time. It was terrible. But tools like Asana, Monday.com can give you line of sight and visibility into tactically what they're doing, but your conversation shouldn't be about tactically what they're doing. It should be about the results of what they're trying to accomplish with them and then come to an alignment with that, right? You can't be on the same page. Well, we did all these follows on Instagram. That's going to help us. And you were expecting leads and sales and demos. That's where you should be having conversations is alignments on the outcomes,
Yes.
not
Yes.
the tactics of how you're doing it.
Talk in outcomes always, always, not in KPIs, outcomes.
Yes, and two quick like examples I'll share. One CEO once told me that he wasn't sure if my direct report was doing anything because she didn't have any meetings on her calendar, and I almost fell out of my chair. Marketers honestly shouldn't be doing that many meetings. We're in too many meetings. That's what I love about fractional is I can actually do the deep work that is helping build the brands. Like it's just, maybe the executives should be in meetings, but like the people that need to do the deep work, the campaign building, the thought that goes into copywriting and thinking about a strategy, that means you should not have full meetings on your calendar. So that's like a big red flag. And then I think the other thing I just want to mention is like I actually just posted about this on LinkedIn. One of the biggest value adds I think I delivered to that same CEO, you can notice a trend here, was that I told him that his presentation was shitty for Web Summit. He was preparing for Web Summit. He didn't involve me. We were beefing at that point, started early. And I took a look at his presentation after it was like, 75% done. And I said, this is bad, like really bad. If you were tracking output in the way that you would track output for an engineer, you wouldn't see anything with regards to that. But that was one of the most valuable pieces of advice he gave me, or I gave him, excuse me. And he got mad at me. And then he ditched the whole thing and like hired some agency to build out a new narrative like within a week, which was also not the right answer. But I digress. But that was a huge value. Ego. Right? Yeah. I saved his ass. He couldn't save his company, but I saved him in that moment. Is this being recorded? Just kidding.
It is being recorded.
No, I'm teasing. I'm
And
teasing.
live streamed
Nope,
at your
nope,
last company.
sorry.
I would say that.
Oh yeah, I'm from New York. I'm gonna curse. Sorry.
Yeah, I do
Do you
too.
want to take one more?
Should we take
No,
one more? Okay,
we're
okay.
out of time.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. Okay, we can chat after.
Yeah, we'll
Find
stay
us
in
out
the
there.
back.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think we have 4 unicorns up here. I mean, I don't know if anybody
go
else.
on.
So some of my the things that hit for me, I like the comment that you should I like the specialty knife, Swiss Army knife analogy. I like fire fast, no ego. If you need a doer, make sure you're hiring a doer because not everybody's a doer. Watch for people that have never been in a startup. A lot of people aren't startup people. That's just a thing, right? I think the fractional thing's really interesting because I'm a fractional person myself, but in security. I don't know. Yeah, just the conversation about it was awesome. So thank you for that. And my background is customers, so knowing your customer and knowing what they want, I liked that comment as well. All right. So the other thing I wanted to say is, it's probably really better that Danielle was unable to make it. Because I think the session was much better with Gabrielle. So thank you, Gabrielle. And again,
Thank
my
you.
apologies for
No,
getting your
that's
name
okay,
wrong.
thank
I'll just put it on my wall of shameful events that I've done in my life.
It's not the first time, won't be the last. It's all good.
A huge thank you to all of our speakers. We have a lot more in store for both today and the rest of the day. We have our closing party and startup showcase happening tonight at 6:30 here at Suffolk University. We know that you guys have a lot of questions. I mean, this panel sparked so many things I'd like to talk about as well. So take a few minutes here, but then we do have to prep for the next session. So at some point, I will throw you out of the room and get my mom voice on. So also, if you haven't found Kevin Ty, get this, do the QR code for the photos. And if you haven't gotten your headshot, it'll also tell you all the places your picture's been taken throughout Startup Week. I've been getting texts all week. Hey, you were spotted in this room. Hey, you were spotted in this room. And there is a coupon so you can get a free headshot. And they do a great job. I loved mine yesterday. Oh, there he is. Yes. He does a great job. And that's it. Thank you, everybody.
So can I just together real quick?
Yeah.
Where do you want us?